I'm going to start this off by asking a few questions to get the juices flowing, and then I'm going to take the microphone out in the audience for all of your questions you may have of these survivors here today. First of all, with something recent, I know Radiohead just released their new album. Basically, you could give what you wanted, or you could get it for free as a download. And that was totally something different, and this was also a popular group which hadn't released a record for a while, and they weren't with a major company. Are there any comments on that, and is that another example of entrepreneurship, or basically just a good marketing move? Anybody have any comments on that?
Well, I should have a comment. Because, you know, the last 5 years we've competed with free. Radiohead is one of the largest groups to do it, but it's, you all know, it's available everywhere. You can download songs, or you can support the artist. The best thing about it, at least you're supporting the artist with this, well, you pay what you want to pay. I heard all kinds of conflicting stories about what the average was. Supposedly most people paid, which is wonderful. Competing with free is one of the tougher entrepreneurial tasks you'll ever run across. The quality, of course, is not, I don't know how many are engineering students here, but you must gasp when you hear an MP3 file compared to full fidelity of music you can get on a CD. But if you're listening on a quarter-inch speaker from your computer, there's a whole lot of difference. So Radiohead could pull it off. I'm not too sure many groups could. They certainly have a following. If you didn't have the support of the community to begin with, they wouldn't have gotten where they were. So it's a little disconcerting to think that now that they have gotten all the support and they don't need you anymore, they kind of move on. They are going to reissue that record in December, more full fidelity on the CD with some giveaways. But
it's a box set. They're going to release a box set, aren't they?
Right.
Now, would that box set be in your store, or would that only be available through them?
The box set would be in the stores. Yeah.
Okay, so they're still tied to
and there'll be probably more content. I don't think it's all worked out yet.
Okay.
And I don't know how many here tried to download, but it was quite frustrating to. I think the site wasn't. They're musicians and they weren't entrepreneurs as far as the technicality of their site. So they had some issues to begin with. But I think if you were tenacious enough, you got through.
Okay, I appreciate that. Are we becoming more dependent, regardless of our various disciplines, on technology? Is technology now dictating certain terms for the entertainment business that, say, the record company or the film company may have dictated in the past, as far as how things were perceived, bought, or sold?
Well, it's the first time that the record labels are unable to control the medium that it's been released on. I mean, they started out with showing my age. I wasn't really around when the little disc came out and control us, but the 78s, I bought 78s. That's how long I've been around. 78s, 45s, the 33s. You ever hear 8-tracks? Raise your hand. Well, there you go. Quad systems. Oh my God, one person, I can't believe it. I've been through a lot of different mediums for listening to music, and this is the one that the labels were unable to really control. They try to do the DRMs and the different content management on it, but it's loose out there.
Bruce, how is the web design and the internet as a whole integral to all this diversification and all these new paradigms?
Well, it's kind of become the new distribution channel. Just this week, however, the Eagles, do any of you know the Eagles? They just released their new record exclusively through Walmart. No? I think there's some songs on there about corporate greed. Anyways, the new media really have changed entertainment forever. The horse is out of the barn as far as that goes. I do tend to agree that the quality of music has decreased. By the way, did any of you in this room download the Radiohead album? A few of you did.
Don't be truthful. One person. I'm proud of you.
But I think you're going to see, this continue, not just in terms of recorded music, but also television and film. So it's happening.
Thank you. Sue, with the changing ways of operations for what we call major or typical record companies, it seems that the cycles keep turning, and now live music again is becoming important because people can't count on large royalty anymore. And that I'd like to tell the class, as far as a marketer is concerned, and I am one typically, a live gig is called direct marketing. Okay, so in essence, to sell your product, whether it's through a video, a television commercial, a radio ad, or a flyer, a live gig is also the best way to promote yourselves. Back to you, Sue. As far as this shift, am I correct in assuming that live is as relevant now as it was, say, maybe the late 70s, or it hasn't gotten back to that stage yet?
I think fortunately for promoters, live music has and continues to be an important part of artists selling their CDs, of course, and stronger than ever. I think the challenge has been that it's been dominated by reunion bands and classic rock bands in terms of big volume. So I think the industry as a whole, needs to find ways to develop careers so that the bands are able to make their living predominantly through the shows. And I feel very lucky that as an independent promoter, and keep in mind that the promotion business is dominated by corporate promoters now, but as an independent, I feel fortunate to be able to offer.
Could you give me an example of some corporate promoters? Because the first thing everybody's going to say is Clear Channel.
Yeah, Clear Channel is now Live Nation, and Steve McClellan is in the audience. He could speak to that probably better than myself. But corporate promoters, Live Nation, there's a company called AEG that has just entered the market, and they dominate. The battles are mainly at the highest level, Excel Center and Target Center. So corporate promoters will buy a whole tour, and not as often as I'd like to see them, they really don't include the local promoters anymore. So a corporate promoter would, for example, what's an example of a tour recently that's been Hannah, Montana. Did anyone go to Hannah, Montana? Am I the only one? So
My daughter.
Your daughter? Yeah, anybody who has younger brothers or younger sisters predominantly. I mean that's the whole Disney thing that was a corporate promoter, AEG. So at the highest levels, the biggest venues is where the corporate promoters dominate. For myself, it's still I do all the shows at the Minnesota Zoo and